What's up everyone, it's Adam from Life of Adam. Today I'm back with a brand new lifeguarding video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to pass the swimming pre-test in the Ellis & Associates lifeguarding course. Now, I personally took the American Red Cross when I started when I was 15 and I became a lifeguard, but Ellis & Associates is very similar, not as much swimming, it's a little different, it's actually slightly easier in my opinion, but I'm gonna give you guys my best tips, my advice to pass this pre-test on your first try so that you can take the lifeguarding course and get your certification. Now, before I dive into this, if you guys are new to the channel, I make a bunch of lifeguarding videos about how to pass the course, how to pass the pre-test, tips to on the job, find the best job, interviews, whatever you need that's related to lifeguarding. I made videos on it, so definitely consider subscribing and liking the video. If you're new to the channel, show your support. Now, one of the biggest differences right off the bat with Ellis compared to American Red Cross and all of the other lifeguard certifications is that there's different levels and there's different qualifications. So if you want to be just a shallow end lifeguard, you don't have to swim as much if you want to be like a special facilities lifeguard. So the three levels are shallow water lifeguarding, a pool lifeguard, and a special facilities lifeguard. Now, one of the starter tips that I have for you is that you need to know exactly what kind of lifeguard you want to be before doing the course. In my opinion, I think you should just go for the special facilities or the pool lifeguard, because once you have that, you can also be a shallow water lifeguard. Like, you can't be a shallow water lifeguard and then be a special facilities. So in my opinion, the more ground you cover, the better, because you can always go backwards and do something less. You can't always do something more. So my opinion, if you're a great swimmer, go for these special facilities or the pool lifeguard, because really it's not that much more swimming and it covers more ground. Now, for the special facilities lifeguard, you have to do a 200-yard swim without touching the sidewalls, without touching the bottom, without stopping, has to be continuous, a front crawl or breaststroke. Now, in my opinion, I always like to go to breaststroke because number one, you don't get as tired as quickly. Number two, it's a better stroke that you can pace yourself. Let's say you're not that in shape or you don't swim as much, you won't get tired and you can get into a rhythm easier to swim longer distances. And number three, it was a stroke that I was the most comfortable with. Now, if you're more comfortable with front crawl, by all means do that. 200 yards isn't really that long. However, if you're someone who doesn't really want to risk getting tired because front crawl really burns you out, I recommend doing breaststroke. You pace yourself, you get into a rhythm, you'll be completely fine. Now, another tip for when doing this, definitely utilize the end walls. You're not allowed to touch the side walls, but the end walls, when you turn around and swim back, if you do a very large push off and you glide, not only will it give you some time to rest as you're gliding, but it'll also reduce the amount of distance that you have to physically swim. So you add that up for every single time you turn around and you do the next lap, it adds up pretty quickly. So this 200-yard swim is really not gonna feel that long. Now, just a warning, when you do this push off the wall, and when you turn around, do not hang out at the wall for a long time. You can't sit there, take a breather, then push off. You have to be continuous. You don't wanna signal any doubt to the instructor. You wanna show them that you're a very strong and competent swimmer. So just remember, don't hang out at the end walls. You can do like a second, but don't exaggerate it and make it too long. Now, that's special facilities. For a normal pool lifeguard, it's only a 100-yard swim, and for a shallow water lifeguard, it's only a 50-yard swim. So like I said earlier, I highly recommend, if you can do it, just do the 200 yards, go for the special facilities. But if you're not that strong of a swimmer, the same tips apply, it's just a smaller amount of distance. Now let's get on to the second pre-test, which is the 10-pound brick at the bottom of the pool. People always freak out that the 10-pound brick, it weighs a lot, maybe you don't see it, you don't know where it is, you don't know how to pick it up, what if you drop it? All these questions get people super nervous about this test, but in the reality, it's like the same for every single certification. Now, for special facilities and a pool lifeguard, the brick's gonna be below 8 feet or deeper. It's gonna be the deepest part of whatever pool you're at. So what I recommend you do is that when you approach the brick, because you're gonna start over here like 20 yards away, you're gonna approach the brick, you have to do a feet first surface dive. But before you do that, it's very important that you do either front crawl with your eyes above water or breaststroke. And what you're doing is you're using your eyes above water and you're locating it. And once you are above the brick, or once you notice the brick, you swim directly above it, you line yourself up so that when you go underneath to retrieve it, you know that you're straight up to down. You don't have to look around and freak out, because that's what happens. People usually go under and they don't know where it is and they're looking for it and they've run out of breath. You want to be perfectly in line, so when you go under, you know it's directly below you. So in this certification, you have to do a feet first surface dive. So that's really all you're doing, is you're doing a scissor kick with your legs. So you have one foot in front of the other, you snap them together, and basically you're bobbing yourself up. you go under and you kind of pushing the water with your hands. The proper form is to do a big clapping motion, bring your hands down and then do another clapping motion. And basically what you're doing is you're blowing bubbles out of your nose and you're sinking right to the bottom. This is a skill that I guarantee you practice a little bit before you actually do the pretest, you'll get it down and you'll sink to the bottom like a rock. And it's a very good technique. So you do that, the brick's right underneath you, you pick it up, you do a light push off, you go back to the surface. And for this certification, you have to get out of the pool unattended. You just gotta use your strength. You gotta support the brick at all times because it's like a victim, and you just gotta push yourself up and get out of the water. So I highly recommend you practice this maybe at a private facility before your swim test, but this is something once you get the hang of, you'll 100% get this down. Now I forgot to mention this, for a shallow water lifeguard, the brick's gonna be only 5 feet deep. So it's the same thing that applies. You don't have to do the surface dive because you can probably stand up. You have to pick it up, support it, and once you get the brick, you have to swim underwater for 10 feet. So you still have to kick, you still have to have good swimming skill, but you gotta support it at all times, treat it like a victim, and you'll be able to pass no problem. Now the last pre-test is the treading water with no hands. Now this is a classic one because in all of the lifeguard certifications, it's basically the same. For the special facilities and the pool lifeguard, the time is gonna be 2 minutes for special facility, 1 minute for pool lifeguard, and for the shallow water, you don't have to do any of this. So my tip for you guys is to establish a rhythm and find the right kick for you. I like doing the egg beater / bicycle kick, and what I do is I do that, and if I feel like my chin's going underwater, I switch my kick up. You can switch your kick up as much as you want. So I switch to a breaststroke kick, which allows me to push the water up and kind of get my head above a little bit more, and I kind of alternate between the two. And if you're someone who's not the best at treading, let's say your body type, you just sink, I recommend you lean back a little bit, like you're unraveling a chair. You don't want to lean back too far because then it looks like you're back floating. But if you lean back a little bit, you switch up your kicks, you implement breaststroke. The reason I don't do flutter kicks is because of the threat of a foot cramp, because once you have a foot cramp, it's brutal. Like, you do not want to be doing that and have to go and touch the side of the water and not be able to pass. So I just avoid that at all costs, any type of flutter kick. I stick with the egg beater kick. You want to make sure there's no one around you, you're not close to the wall, you're not touching the bottom, you're in the middle of the pool, and you're waiting for the instructor to say you are finished, and then you can go to the side. Until then, don't count in your head and be like it was 2 minutes. You have to wait for their signal, and then you can bring your hands below the water and swim back to the side. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Definitely like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll see you all in the next upload. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.